to another episode of Staying Comfortable, and to our new listeners, welcome to the show.
Today we're going to be talking about you reap what you sow. Today is the harvest of yesterday's seeds. Your mind is a garden, your thoughts are seeds, you can grow flowers or you can grow weeds.
Yep, I mean, very well said there. If you want to be treated well, then treat others well. If you want to be loved, love others. Don't expect to get something when you aren't doing it yourself. Too many people expect perfection from others. You have to fail, give out what they expect.
Yeah, and it's like that pay it forward movement, right, Kevin? It's like when it started, think about somebody just said, I'm going to start this pay it forward movement. I'm just going to pay for somebody's coffee or their meal or their drink. And then it's really a movement, right? Like now we all know about pay it forward. There's nobody in America, at least, that doesn't know about pay it forward.
Yeah.
But it started with that seed. Somebody planted that seed, and now it's grown into these flowers all across us.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, how shitty would it be if somebody actually didn't do the pay it forward if you were the next person in the line when you're actually purchasing coffee?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be, I personally don't think it would be shitty. I can see myself being like, dude, I got no time, let me just keep moving forward with my day. But what it will do for me personally is if I can't do it at the coffee line, at least I'll do it some other day. So it will eventually happen. There's just a domino effect of kindness that this person has started. Another example is you and I went downstairs and this old couple, sweet looking couple, was sitting on this couch. And we wouldn't have said anything to them, but all they did was they said, "Hi guys, good morning," with such a sweet, positive, pleasant tone.
And good energy.
Yeah, great energy, right? And you and I couldn't help but giving it right back. Right? Hi, good morning to you guys. And then we started joking around. And that kind of brings us to our first point, which is relationships, right? What you put into a relationship is ultimately what you're going to get out of that relationship. And again, we hope that this is what happens. If it's not happening, you're probably not in the right relationship. And we'll talk about the good and the bad, right? And we can start with the good.
Yep.
Two of my really good friends, yesterday we were talking about what is the kindest thing the other person has done for you. And they couldn't stop swapping stories. And you could tell it the way they were looking at each other while talking about what the other person has done for them, that there was so much love between them.
Yeah, and that's hard to find.
It's so hard to find, right? But that's what the good relationships are. It's communication, at least what we're assuming. I feel like it's been a while since I've been in a really good relationship. But it's supposed to be about communication. It's supposed to be about how much love you're giving to the other person unconditionally, right? Without expecting anything in return, but the other person just does it.
Yeah, but it's hard to do that as well, right? Because you, first of all, I think when you think about giving something, right? There's in the back of our mind, it's always constantly, it's like, are they doing it for the right reasons, or are they actually manipulating the situation to get X out of it?
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate part of society is that we've become trained and we've become jaded enough to start thinking that way. At some point in our childhood, at some point in some relationship, something has happened that we've now said, okay, why are they loving me, or why are they doing this? What's their intention? But hopefully, again, when you're in that right relationship, the intentions are pure. The intention is actually love. You know, we joked around about like the only time you're going to receive unconditional love is by your dog, right? But even that's possibly not unconditional, right? Because the dog wants treats.
He'll do something for a little while, then he'll be like, okay, I'm going to go back to my old habits.
Yes, you have to train the dog, right? But yeah, I mean, the examples that they gave, it was like, you know, he loved me so much and he did this for me. There's no way that I couldn't pay it back by doing this for him. And they were sort of one-upping each other in the sweetest way imaginable. Like, she did this for me, he did this for me. And that's what you want, is you want to be able to plant that seed of love and kindness and communication so you hopefully get it back.
And I think it's also very important that when you're in a relationship or when you're starting to date somebody, you will have to understand what their love languages are as well, right? So for example, if I could be doing X to somebody in terms of like I could be showing love in a completely different way, but their receiving method of love is totally different. So it doesn't matter how much I do, they'll never see how much I care about them because their love language is completely different. So if you've actually never read a book called Five Love Languages, I highly encourage that you and the person that you're in a relationship with actually read that book, because it'll help you understand how do you like to be loved. You know, is it word of affirmation? Is it gifting? Is it act of service? Because I could be doing act of service all the time, and you're like, that's not the way I like to be loved.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Is you know, in this whole concept of you reap what you sow, you have to understand that the other person understands that you're actually planting these seeds.
Yeah, because I can give an example of mine, right, in a relationship, which was a lot of questions because of the clear communication. It led to a bunch of domino effects that demolished the whole entire relationship. I really wanted to be in a relationship with the girl, but because of lack of communication and showing how I like to be loved, it led into a bunch of different issues that there's no relationship.
So there was at some point a miscommunication or some seed of uncertainty that was planted, and then that just kind of blew up eventually, right? It grew into a weed versus a flower.
Exactly. So I think having that clear communication and then also understanding how your partners like to be loved and understanding of that can really blossom your relationship with one and each other.
Yeah, and I recommend if you're in a relationship, if you're starting a relationship, if you're thinking about being in a relationship, you know, this is one thing that we do really well in the corporate world, at least some leaders do, is having that expectation of goals and metrics and
KPIs and stuff, yeah.
Exactly, but we don't do that in a relationship. But imagine up front, you know, maybe not on the first date, but as you move forward, to be like, how do you like to be loved? So that I can plant those seeds and show you that I actually care.
And this is not something that you learn in school. This is not something that your parents teach you. This is something that you have to explore and learn on your own, because every single person is unique. Every single person has a totally different style of being loved and also giving love as well. So it's very important for you to understand those things in order for you to have a very fruitful relationship with your partner.
Yeah, if you expect love, make sure that you're giving it too.
Yeah.
Right? And that brings us to our next point, is friendships, right? If you want to be a good friend, or if you want a good friendship, you need to be a good friend.
Yeah.
And one example that I have is somebody that I thought was one of my best friends, didn't show up at my dad's funeral. This was 4 years ago, and I still hold that grudge against him. I can never completely let him in or forgive him. And he has called me every week for the last 4 years. Wow. And this year I have not even talked to him. And he still called me every week. And finally I picked up the phone this last week, and he talked to me like nothing had ever happened. He's like, "What's up, man? How are you?" And I was like, "Hey, all things are good." And then I broke down. And I was like, "You know what? I'm still hurt. It's tough for me to talk to you because of the expectations I had about our friendship."
Yeah.
You know, you planted that seed of uncertainty for me in how our friendship is. I thought we were more than what you made it out to be, because if you don't show up to my dad's funeral, we're not as good as friends as I thought we were.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You know, I'm so sorry. If I could go back, I would. You know, if you see that I'm going to call you, I'm going to call you till the day I die every week to show you that I love you and you're my friend, and I wish I could go back and change it, but I can't." And he's like, "It's okay if I'm the smaller man or the little man in this. I have no ego in our friendship. Like, I still love you."
See, that's hard to find, right? Because egos in humans are like number one thing, right? Which is like, this person is being vulnerable and it's like, dude, I don't care, like, I'll keep calling you, right? I think that takes a lot from a person to do that, because they know they fucked up. First of all, to own that they fucked up, and now to say that, hey, I am going to put my ego aside and continue to do this until we fix this. I think that is, I give credit to your friend, because it does take a lot to do that.
Yeah, because it's all about ego, right? Self-importance. People want to feel big. People want to feel important. We all want to be liked. And in this instance, I'm not showing him that I like him. I'm showing him that he's not important to me, which is all untrue. I mean, at the sort of the base of my heart, it's like, you know, you're a friend that I cared for. And it's,
no, you're a good person, but you weren't there when I needed you, and I thought our friendship was about more than that, right? So you have all the right to be upset. You have all the right to be angry, but he's also trying to make up for that, right? Obviously, you're not going to forgive him right away because you counted on him and he wasn't there. So it's for unfortunate part of life that people don't realize the good friendship and bad friendship, right? To give you an example, that I have such an amazing friend that I truly care for him. Like, I really respect the guy a lot, and I thought that having his friendship turning into a business would be amazing because I can count on him. I can count on him to be my friend. He was always there, and I thought he could be a great business partner. But unfortunately, it's not that, right? You hear people say that don't do business with your friends, right? It's so fact and so true because you have expectations from a different type of relationship, that you're bringing those expectations into complete new type of opportunity. And when you do that, you are putting yourself into a position of the unknown because you don't know how they're going to execute it, you don't know how they're going to do it. And till today, I am still facing the consequences of that action. It's because what I put into that friendship.
Yeah, it's you turned it into business, not realizing maybe the experience that your friend brings into the business world, and I know that that's negatively affected you in that business, and I think continues to today in some aspect.
Yeah, it fucking haunts me till today.
Yeah, so you.
But it's my fault.
Right?
It's my mistake. It's my fault, right? So I can't point fingers and blame anybody else. It's me, because if I would have learned that, and if I would have put the right energy into that, then it would have been there.
Yeah, it's, again, you want to be a good friend, you start off by being a good friend. You want that friendship, you become a good friend. How many of us have friends that we're sort of not sure we want to hang out with?
Yeah.
We get a text saying, hey, you want to grab coffee at Tuesday at 7 p.m.? And you're like, I'm not sure. Like, if I want to spend that time with this person. But guess what? They're probably feeling the same way. So it's like, you really need to figure out the energy and the type of friendships that you're cultivating, the seeds that you're planting, because that's what's growing.
Yeah, and this is something that I really care a lot about, because you could be surrounded with the same group of people for the rest of your life, and as long as you're happy, that's fine. But if you're like, hey, I want to go and live in a penthouse, I want to go travel the world, I want to go do this, I want to do this, and if your friends aren't doing that shit, and let me tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you that you're never going to be able to do those things, because they're never going to push you to do something better. They're never going to push you outside your comfort zone to help you realize that you can achieve those things in life. So for me, this is a very tough topic, because it's like, I'm not friends with people that I was friends with in high school. I literally this is a while back, I ordered pizza, and this is no joke at all. A kid from my high school who was in his prime time in basketball, we used to call him Larry Bird, he was that good, delivered fucking pizza at my house. And he's like, are you the Kevin David? And I said, yep, that's me. If I would have stuck around and there's nothing wrong, if I was still hanging out with those people, I think I would still be delivering pizza then. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's, everything is so temporary in life, right? Life itself is a blink of an eye. It's you're here, and then next day it's over, right? So things change, friendships change, relationships change.
And I also think that everybody that comes into your life has a purpose to teach you something. And it's for you to realize what they're teaching you in that journey of yours. So really look at where you are in your friendships, in your relationship, and see what you can learn from those people that are coming in your life for that time being.
Yeah, and put in what you want out of it. Right?
Yeah.
You want kindness, you want love, you better start with that. You need to put that in there. Same thing goes into your career, right? Like where we are today in our careers is because of what we put in. And
you know the reason why I'm laughing is getting fired 2 times, because again, I was not hired to do the work that I was doing on the side. I was hired to put in the right amount of work for the company to make sure that I'm hitting the KPIs, right? But I wasn't putting in the results. I got fired.
Yeah, they spoke for themselves. Money, right? Let's move on to money. Do you want to be a millionaire? Are you a millionaire? And if you are, that's because of the work that you put in. If you're not a millionaire and you want to be there, look at the work ethic of a millionaire. They don't They don't have the work ethic of a minimum wage person.
No.
Right? And not saying that anything's wrong with the work ethic of a minimum wage person, but if that's where they've been for most of their life, it's probably, there's a reason for it. So, are you reading the right books? Are you spending the time on saving? Are you saying, you know what, I'm not going to go out on Saturday nights and spend more than $100? You know, how are you budgeting? What are you putting in so that you can get out the life that you want, the money that you want? So, and read the right books.
And what I was going to say is that money is very damn important in your life. I mean, money runs this world. I mean, if you think about it, right? And if you aren't where you are with your financial situation where you want to be, there's nobody else to blame but you. And let me tell you why. You can go on Google and you can learn completely every single thing about from investment to money management to every single thing that you want. Is it because you're not putting in the time on learning these things? Is it because you are being lazy and not taking action?
Yeah, great point, Kevin, because you have Google, you have all the wealth of information at your fingertips for free. You have these tools like Udemy, Khan's Academy. Kevin, you're a professor at General Assembly. You can go to the library. The libraries in this country are so beautiful. Every city has a library. Most cities have libraries, and they're free. So utilize those resources to gain the knowledge to get to where you want to go. Money's not just going to show up, you guys. You have to put in the work. Moving forward.
Yeah.
Health.
Oh, this is a good one, right? I think you have a great quote that I love every single time you say, which is,
it's eat delicious or look delicious, right? You want to eat a couple pizzas every day. Yeah, they taste delicious, but you're most likely not going to look delicious.
Yeah.
And health can be broken down into different categories, right? Kevin, you and I always talk about this. You know, we always kind of say, hey, did we make strides in what we look like or how we are physically, how we are mentally, how we are emotionally, and then how we are spiritually. So, you know, understanding our mental game, it needs to be strong. The mindset needs to be strong. Understanding our own emotions. When do we feel joy? When do we feel anger? When do we have disappointment, sadness? And then spirituality. You know, we talk about what's our why. We always have to be like, are you grateful? Do you know why you're doing what you're doing? So understand that these different categories fall under the umbrella of health, and that, again, you reap what you sow in these categories.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to kind of talk about, which is happiness, right? Everybody wants to feel happy. Everybody wants to have a great spot, have an amazing day, right? You know what? How you can actually accomplish all of that is by understanding the balanced part between relationship, friendship, career, money, and health, right? Think about this. You're this person, and you have all of these different categories in your life, right? You might not be great at one thing. You might not be good at building relationship, but you're great at your health, right? You might be great at building friendship. So how can you actually work on these different categories and make sure that all of them are going in the right direction and balancing it, right? Once you actually realize that, oh shit, I need to work on this part of the category, I need to do this here, I'm telling you, like, you will find happiness within yourself because you're constantly working on improving the categories that make you and give you happiness in life. You see what I'm saying?
100%. Again, it's all the decisions that you're making for each of these categories. What are you putting in is ultimately what you're getting out. So one of the other things I heard was, you don't let the future happen to you, you create it. So the decisions you're making today are going to create your future.
Yeah.
So really think about each of these categories. Are you where you are? Are you the best version of yourself in each of these categories? If not, what can you do to get better? And are you putting in the time to get better?
Yeah. No, this is so true. And also, along those lines, I hate when people say you got lucky. There's no fucking luck, right? You prepare for the opportunity when it's given to you at the right place at the right time. And that's not called luck. That's called preparation. Because if you weren't prepared, and if you weren't putting in the work, that opportunity doesn't mean jack shit to you.
Mm-hmm.
So really, like, take time and understand where you are in these categories in your life and how can you improve. So therefore, you can build the fucking future that you want, and that's gonna make you happy and not point fucking fingers at anybody else.
Yeah, plant the right seeds today so you can have the garden that you really want.
Thank you guys. Till next